Good morning, friends, students, and lovers of English literature. This is Professor Deepika Srivastav from the English department. Since I am a fairly familiar name in academic circles, I presume there's no need to give a detailed discussion about myself or to introduce myself. Let's move to the topic of today's lecture. I will speak on Salman Rushdie, a modernistic approach, since we are all familiar with his many outstanding novels. Sir Ahmad Salman Rushdie, a popular British Indian novelist and essayist, has carved a niche for himself. He happens to be my favorite writer too, as I'm quite fascinated by his novels, which are basically a rare combination of magic realism and historical fiction. May I humbly add that I have successfully supervised research work on him, covering many connections, disruptions, and migrations between the East and the West. More than a dozen research scholars of mine have been awarded the prestigious DPhil degree of the University of Allahabad under my able guidance. So, I will focus on the famed Bombay born, London based writer who is regarded as the king of controversies. He has established a name for himself in the international literary scene and ranks amongst the best contemporary novelists, being as famous and remarkable as V.S. Naipaul, Ben Okri, Vikram Seth, Gunter Grass, and John Irving. Rushdie's Grimers, Midnight's Children, the Satanic Verses, Shame, The Moo's Last Sigh, Fury, Shalimar the Clown, The Enchantress of Florence, The Ground Beneath Her Feet, The Golden House, Imaginary Homelands, East, West, Luca and the Fire of Life, Joseph Anton, a memoir, and 2 years, 8 months, and 28 nights have earned him international acclaim. The Satanic Verses has given him utmost publicity owing to Islamic controversy, which forced him to lead a fugitive's life for a long period. This book prompted a fatwa against him in 1989 since Iran's spiritual leader Ayatollah Khomeini gave a call for his assassination for blasphemy in the novel. Rushdie was born in 1947 in Bombay, now Mumbai. Being familiar with Indian places, he preferred to focus on major social and political issues happening not only in India but its subcontinent as well. His novels deal with Quit India movement, freedom struggle, communal riots, 5 year plans, Pakistan war, Bangladesh liberation movement, labor strikes, and all major events of pre and post colonial period. Nearly all his novels have landed in controversies. Shame was banned in Pakistan owing to satirical remarks on General Zia. This book was written out of a desire to approach the problem of artificial country divisions and was his third novel. Former Prime Minister of India, late Mrs. Indira Gandhi, had ordered to prosecute Rushdie as Midnight Children had distorted her politics. The book portrays India's transition from British colonialism to independence and the partition of India. An example of post colonial, postmodern, and magical realist literature, it won the Booker's Prize as well as the Best of Booker Prize despite the controversy. Coming to the Satanic Verses, his fourth novel, inspired in part by the life of Muhammad, it was banned for religious controversies. Muslims accused Rushdie of blasphemy, and Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran issued a fatwa ordering Muslims to kill Rushdie. English writer Hanif Qureshi called the fatwa, I open the inverted commas, one of the most significant events in post-war literary history, close the inverted commas. However, Rushdie was unaffected, brushing off allegations of being controversial, saying politics and religions are dominant factors and will be included in his writings. As we know, he was born in the 1940s. Rushdie had a privileged childhood in an upper middle class liberal Muslim family in Bombay, now Mumbai. He had a Christian nanny, attended an English school, and was a lover of English books. His father used to narrate bedtime stories from Arabian Nights. All these factors had a deep impression on his mind and laid the foundation of novel writing. Hence, when he started writing, he included all of these and became the most outstanding writer of magic realism. Coming back to his formative years, he migrated to Pakistan, went to United Kingdom, and continued his education at Rugby and Cambridge. Soon after began his literary career. His marriages were the talk of the town as he married 4 times. Unfortunately, all were unsuccessful, ending in divorce. But because of them, he is perceived as a feminist writer. Uneducated and underprivileged women influenced him significantly. Hence, he wrote about their struggles and quest for equality with men. In his famous novel Midnight's Children, it is Saleem's mistress Padma who restores his identity. Likewise, in Shame, he projects the silent stories of Pakistan's oppressed women. The Indian novel flourished in the 20th century under the able leadership of Raja Rao, Mulk Raj Anand, and R.K. Narayan. The later novelists Arun Joshi, Khushwant Singh, and Nayanthara Sehgal took forward the tradition of novel writing. Yet, during the 6th and 7th decades of the 20th century, there was a dearth of new talent. Suddenly, at the dawn of the 1980s, a young talented writer appeared on the literary arena, and this man began his success story, which continues till date. Though disappointed by political happenings, Rushdie did not project a cynical portrait of India as V.S. Naipaul did in An Area of Darkness and India, a Wounded Civilization. On the contrary, India is depicted as a colorful country having fascinating myths and fabulous folklores. He hoped for a bright future for India in Midnight's Children, which is a political allegory and a magic realist novel highly popularized in South America and was introduced by Gunter Grass of Germany and Gabriel Garcia Marquez of Colombia. Though he adopted this genre from Latin America, his own life too had traces of it as he was fond of fantastic books and was familiar with Arabian Nights, Sinbad the Sailor, and Superman comics. This combination resulted in a blend of fantastic and real, which is magic realism. The world of ghosts, witches, angels, and even religious experiences can be termed magic realism. Salim Sinai, the protagonist of Midnight's Children, sees events related to his life even before his birth. Lord Shiv, Goddess Parvati, Lord Ganesh myths are mixed with Western realism. Most important is the creation of history through Salim, which is mingled with the history of India. Salim is born at the stroke of midnight on August 15, 1947, the very moment of India's independence. Salim grows up to learn the ominous consequences of this coincidence. Most remarkable feature of his is telepathic powers linking him with 1000 other Midnight's children, all endowed with magical gifts. It is owing to this that Midnight Children is hailed as an extraordinary novel winner of the Booker Prize, incorporating the past with Indian epics, folklores, and fairy tales while presenting details of Indian history. Rushdie's novels usually have three rival political, spiritual discourses, that is, Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism. Therefore, diverse points of views are liberally celebrated. Rushdie migrated from India to Pakistan, then to England, and settled in the United States of America in search for a place of his liking. He harbors the wounds of rootlessness, alienation, and the failure to adjust in new situations. This kindled a fury within him that burst in his novel entitled Fury. It discusses his disillusionment with America, exploring fury in an individual. This is his seventh novel, depicting contemporary New York City as the epicenter of globalization and all its tragic flaws. It is both a bitter howl of rage and an epic, which is a very rare combination. Use of local dialect makes the dialogue natural and interesting. The Moor's Last Sigh, his fifth novel, set in Bombay and Cochin, is the story of one family and its last surviving member, Maurice Joy B, known as the Moor. Aged 36 but with the physique of a 72-year-old, he narrates the story of his life. Rushdie explores tensions between inclusive and exclusive forms of Indian nationalism through interplay of satire. Rushdie's works are characterized by a swap of narration, descriptions of real events and people, mythological characters, and subtle humor. The theme of immigration is recurrent. He was shocked by the bias of British Immigration Department which abuses non-white residents. Many of his protagonists are migrants who are put to a lot of hardships. In Grimace, the orphaned protagonist Flapping Eagle is forced to leave his tribe and wanders around the world. In Midnight's Children, Salim travels the entire country. In the Satanic Verses, Saldin Chamcha and Gabriel Farishta migrate to England, go back to India in the end, and in between dream themselves in different times and places. In the Moore's Last Sigh, Maurice Jacobi travels India as well as Spain, emphasizing that one can strike one's root in any culture or country. The Cochin based Maurice is of Jewish, Christian, Muslim descent, while Veena Apsara is of Greek, Indian, American origin. Thus, migrants have to construct their personal identity in relation to the different social identity around them. Their identities become hybrid. The term hybridity has its origin in the 19th century biological theory, implying crossing to two different species. The term alludes to the contact between two cultures, between self and the other. Rushdie suggests that a person can never refrain from being influenced by cultural identity. Moray speaks about the self and draws a parallel between 14th century multi ethnic Granada and its Alhambra and the need for flowing together. Other frequently used terms are intermingling, transformation, mongrelization, hodgepodge, and palimpsest. Rushdie is a pure Indian in thought and spirit despite his preference for English over his mother tongue, that is Urdu. The subject matter is neither stereotyped nor predictable. If R.K. Narayan is the novelist of the individual man, Mulk Raj Anand novelist of the social man, Raja Rao that of the metaphysical man, then Salman Rushdie is the novelist of India, Indianness, and everything that occurred in India. Historical facts fascinate him. Except his first novel, Grimace, others are solely historical novels. In Midnight Children, he related private lives to public events to explore the limits of individuality in a country as big as India. Similar is the case of Shame for Pakistan. In the Satanic Verses, he raised issues about Islamic culture. Rushdie, taking up his experience of expatriation, expanded its meaning. Midnight Children is in part the story of a baby born illegitimately who was switched at birth with another illicit child. Thus, the hero is doubly removed from his father. His mother's husband is not his father, and the Englishman, whom his mother thinks is the father, is not his father either. He is torn between Islam and Hinduism, neither of which is his own religion. He shifts between India and Pakistan throughout his life. Rushdie focused on problems of diaspora, which for him is an autobiographical element. Shame is a commentary on recent Pakistani history, and the protagonist of Midnight Children is bound by history. Rushdie has motivated a bunch of young Indian talent, making a mark in post colonial literature. Not only has he won the prestigious Booker Prize, but has been adorned by several other awards. Had he not succeeded as a writer, he would have joined either the Hollywood or Bollywood film industry. Among his many wives was American Indian actress and model Padma Lakshmi, though the marriage ended in 2007. He was also linked with the Indian starlet Riya Sen briefly, who is Munmun Sen's daughter and Suchitra Sen's granddaughter. Rushdie was awarded knighthood in literature in British Queen's Birthday Honours in 2007. Many Muslim leaders protested condemning the action, especially leaders from Iran, Pakistan, and Malaysia, who insisted that he did not merit the honor and urged Queen Elizabeth to withdraw the honor, thinking it was an insult to Islam. These controversies did not affect the acclaimed writer one bit. He continued his literary career and the journey went on. His other novels are Shalimar the Clown, which took 4 years to write. The novel derives its name from Shalimar Gardens, which is situated in the vicinity of Srinagar, and the novel is based on terrorism and is set in Kashmir. The Enchantress of Florence, his ninth and most researched novel, is based on a young European traveler calling himself Mogor del Amor, which means the Mughal of love, who arrives at the court of the celebrated Emperor Akbar with a tale that obsesses the whole imperial capital. Luca and the Fire of Life is the sequel to Heron and the Sea of Stories. The novel centers on the efforts of Luca, young brother of Heron, to locate the titular fire and revive his ailing father. Luca embarks on a journey through the world of magic with his loyal companions, Bear the dog and Dog the bear, all in the hope of stealing the fire of life. 2 years, 8 months, and 28 nights is a novel set in New York City in the near future. It deals with the Arabic mythological figures known as jinn and recounts the story of a Genia princess and her offspring. Hence, in it, Rushdie spins a magic realism yarn as only he can. In The Golden House, his 11th novel, set in Mumbai and New York City, Rushdie explored the immigrant experience in the United States of America through a wealthy Indian family settled in New York in the 21st century. It is replete with allusions to literature, film, mythology, and politics. It is a modern epic of love and terrorism, loss and reinvention. To sum up, it is a rich epic of the immigrant experience in modern America where no amount of money can free a family from sins of the past. Quixote was inspired by Cervantes' classic novel Don Quixote. Quixote is a metafiction that tells the story of an Indian American man who travels across America in pursuit of a celebrity television host with whom he has become obsessed. Ismail changes his name to Quixote and goes on a quest to win Salma's love. By the time he finally meets Salma, it appears that the world will soon end owing to strange weather events. They both flee to California as there a portal machine will take them to a parallel Earth. My discussion will be incomplete if I don't mention The Ground Beneath Her Feet, Rushdie's sixth novel. It is a variation on the Orpheus Eurydice myth with rock music replacing Orpheus's lyre. The book revolves around the love of two men, Ormus Kama and Umid Rai Merchant, for the same woman, Veena Apsara, with rock music being the background. The novel is termed as a global novel. The character of Kama may be inspired by Elvis Presley. The novel is set in a parallel universe as revealed in the second half of the book. Veena Apsara, a famous and much loved singer, is caught in a devastating earthquake and is never seen again by human eyes. Kama, the lover, finds, loses, seeks, and again finds her in this epic romance. The photographer Rai is perhaps the book's true hero. Telling the story of Kama and Veena, he reveals his own truths. Thus, the ground beneath her feet is Rushdie's most gripping novel, a flawed encounter between the East and the West, and a tale of love and death, and of course, rock and roll. Now let me take up Grimes, Rushdie's literary debut, a fantasy and science fiction. The story is based on a young Indian who receives the gift of immortality after drinking a magical fluid. Then he wanders the earth for 777 years, 7 months, and 7 days. The novel is based on a 12th century Sufi poem but is disparaged by critics, probably owing to its mythic and literary allusion. Anyway, the novel remains powerful and haunting, replete with thrilling quests, encounters, and mysteries. We will briefly discuss Joseph Anton, a memoir, which is an autobiographical book giving an account of his life in the wake of the controversy over the Satanic verses. Rushdie used Joseph Anton as a pseudonym while in hiding following the fatwa that had been issued by the religious leader of Iran. He chose the names to honor writers Joseph Conrad and Anton Chekhov. It also discusses the breakup with his second wife, Marian Wiggins, and his third and fourth marriages and breakups to Elizabeth West and Padma Lakshmi. Rushdie has also published short stories collected in East West. In his non fiction collection, Step Across This Line, he professes his admiration for the Italian writer Italo Calvin and the American writer Thomas Pynchon, among others. His early influences included Lewis Carroll, Gunter Grass, and James Joyce. It is for this reason that he writes allegorical novels that examine historical and philosophical issues by means of surreal characters having a pinch of brooding humor. Little wonder then that he received the Booker Prize in 1981 for Midnight's Children. The novel subsequently won the Booker of Bookers and Best of Bookers. Since 2000, Rushdie has lived in USA. For an Indian settled abroad, it is a feat to write about native customs and manners in an alien language that is English. His success lies in his device of using ironical style to expose socio political hypocrisy of the Indian society as well as his supreme command on the English language. Let us now discuss his writing style. I have completed the discussion on his novels. His prose style is effusive and melodramatic. He uses pure and limpid English, which is easy and natural in flow, but the tone is in an evolved and conscious medium. History, social condition, weather, milieu are presented in different settings in different novels. Rushdie has used Indian historical events as a literary device to expose human predicament in Indian society. He observes the minutest details but neither condemns them nor reacts on them. His novels are pungent satire on various ills that are religious fundamentalism, communal clashes, caste and sex feelings, and political exploitations of the society. He sketches lively scenes, absurdities, pretensions, and traditional happenings, all flavored with Indian historical events. The lives of his protagonists, who are basically innocent, end into a realized life by the time the novel ends. His themes, characters, Dialogues, straightforward behavior carry feelings and atmosphere of the Indian subcontinent. The same is the case with his language, which is gentle and smooth, though he uses lengthy and complex sentences. His writing is marked with lucidity, clarity, and simplicity. Rushdie first observes happenings in India and Pakistan and then presents pictures of Bombay, Karachi, and Kashmir. Some are recollections of his personal experience, as creative writings are autobiographical in nature. Another striking feature is almost every novel except Grimes is based on political themes. Midnight Children is a novel about the past. Rushdie lived in Bombay in the 50s and 60s and remembers the tetrapads at Marine Drive, the Nanavati case, Sabramati murder, and even the traffickmen at the Electric House crossroads. The novel is a total recall of his childhood, and he found it in the form of Salim's personality. The Moore's Last Sigh also reflects socio-political awareness of Rushdie. He highlights hypocrisy in religious places and condemns priest of the Catholic Church, Aurora, who makes sexual advances towards a widow. Salman criticizes communalization of religious occasions, particularly Ganesh Chaturthi, and communal politics of Shiv Sena. The novel contains vivid satirical remarks on regional politics in Bombay. Like Midnight Children, The Moore's Last Sigh is also essentially a Bombay novel, but the difference is in the way the city is perceived in these two novels. Despite the fact that India was the first country to ban the satanic verses, Rushdie talks nostalgically of India as a home for a very long time. He has publicly asserted that he would like to stay in India, but he should not be made a political football. He had fought and won a legal battle in India to get possession of his father's property near Shimla. But he expresses sadness for being denied entry not only in India but also into India's foreign missions abroad. Even filming of Midnight Children was not allowed in the country. He said with remorse that henceforth he would write about leaving India and resolved never to mention India in his writings. Salman was to attend the Jaipur Literature Festival in 2012 but later cancelled his complete tour of India, citing a threat to his life. Maybe paid assassins had been hired to kill him, he said. He criticized politicians for pandering to hardline Muslim clerics and launched a defense of freedom of expression. He accused the ruling Congress party of appeasing Muslim votes. He also made a dig at Congress leader Rahul Gandhi after the party performed poorly at the elections. Rushdie also ridiculed Pakistan's cricketer turned politician Imran Khan, who pulled out of a scheduled speech due to Rushdie's alleged anti Muslim writings. Rushdie said that the re emergence of controversy over the Satanic verses was part of a trend in India of the threat of violence being used to silence opposing views and artistic options. He further added that the chilling effect of violence is increasing in India. Rushdie openly claims that tremendous harm was caused to Islam by terrorists who attacked India. He also expressed repeatedly that common people are more sensible than their leaders and 95% Muslims of India are not in favor of violence. To conclude, I can assert that this lecture is an attempt to analyze the great novelist and his art form from a characteristic and humanistic perspective, revealing his concern for people and society. Caught in controversies, the humanitarian aspect of Rushdie's novel has been lost in darkness, which I have attempted to bring into light. It can be hoped that this brief lecture on Rushdie might prove a successful attempt in improving the society on the front of fraternity in an era of disintegration and hostility on the basis of religion, region, country, and continent. It is due to his subject matter and the Indian message of universal and timeless validity that Rushdie has secured an enviable place in the galaxy of modern novelists who are essentially Indian in their outlook and sympathies. His characterization is superb, his story mesmerizing, and the most outstanding aspect is that he is an interpreter of history, an observer, an artistic critic of politics, a visualizer of social, cultural trends, and unparalleled master of magic realism. Rushdie has emerged as one of the most powerful novelists of the world today, despite all his controversies. Hope you have enjoyed my lecture and will benefit from this brief introduction towards a modernistic approach of Salman Rushdie. Thank you for listening. All the best and Merry Christmas to all of you.